your first row, and to do so you're going to work a single crochet stitch in the third chain from your hook. So count in 3, 1, 2, 3, and in that third chain you're going to place your first single crochet stitch. We are going to be working a pattern that is often referred to as the moss stitch. So you have your chain 2, your single crochet, you're then going to chain 1, skip the next chain, and single crochet in the next stitch. You're going to repeat that all the way across. Chain 1, skip 1, and single crochet in the next stitch. So continue to repeat that all the way across. Chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next stitch, placing your final single crochet stitch in that last chain. Once you have come to that final chain, you've worked your single crochet stitch, you are going to chain 2 and turn your work. You're now set to begin row 2. For row 2, you're going to skip that first single crochet stitch, and you're going to work a single crochet in the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, skip the next single crochet, and single crochet in the next chain 1 space. Repeat that all the way across. Chain 1, skip the next single crochet, and single crochet in the next chain 1 space. Continue that all the way across, and when you come to the end of your row, you are going to work your final single crochet stitch in that starting chain 2. So in that chain 2 space, that's where you're going to work your final single crochet stitch. So I'm coming up on the end of my row 2. I've chained 1, then into that chain 2 space I work my final single crochet stitch. It's always important to remember to work into that final chain 2, otherwise your sides will not be straight and they're going to be a little bit crooked. So make sure that you always place your final single crochet into that chain 2 space. At the end of your row 2, you are going to chain 2 and turn your work. Now for the next several rows or many rows, you are simply going to repeat that row 2. So you've chained 2, skip the first single crochet stitch, and work 1 single crochet in that chain 1 space. Chain 1, repeat the next skip the next single crochet stitch, and single crochet in the chain 1 space. So again, repeat that all the way across, and so you're going to continue to repeat that row, that was row 2, until the work from the beginning measures approximately 10 inches. Or if you would like your blanket to be a little bit larger, you're welcome to continue, or smaller, but you're going to continue until it's about 10 inches. So you're going to have a square of fabric. Once you have completed your desired length, you will be ready to work the edging. There's no need to fasten off. You can just continue on with the edging, following completing the body of the blanket. So now here is my completed body of the blanket. It's just a very nice, simple moss stitch fabric. I love the moss stitch and baby blankets because there's no holes and it's just such a great texture. Now, once you have that square completed and you've worked to 10 inches or to the desired length, you do not need to fasten off, but you are going to start working your edging. So I chained 1 and I turned my work, or you could fasten off and rejoin if you would like in the top right hand corner if you're right-handed. You're going to start by chaining 1 and you're going to work a single crochet stitch in each single crochet and each chain 1 all the way across the top. So single crochet in each stitch and each chain space all the way across. When you come to your corner stitch, so that's going to be that chain 2 space, when you come to your corner stitch, you are going to work 3 single crochet stitches all into that same corner stitch. That's going to bring you around to work on this rough edge of your fabric. Now what you're going to do is you're going to work 45 single crochet stitches all the way along this rough edge, and if it helps, you want them to be fairly even. So if it helps, I would mark your fabric about halfway down with a stitch marker, and then you know you want to have half your stitches on one side, half your stitches on the other side. You can have more or less stitches. Just remember that you want to have the same number of stitches on this side as you do on the other side, okay? So just keep track of how many stitches you have. I found that 45 stitches worked well in my blanket, but depending on your tension, you may want to have more or less. So work 45 stitches along this rough edge. When you come to your corner, you're going to work 3 single crochet stitches in your corner. You're then going to turn and you're going to single crochet in each stitch and chain space all the way across. Work 3 more single crochet stitches in that corner. Work 45 stitches along the opposite rough edge. And then when you come to your first corner stitch, you're going to work 2 final single crochet stitches in it. And that will bring you around to the beginning. You're going to join in that first stitch with a slip stitch and get ready for round 2. I am just joining the end of my round 1 with a slip stitch. At the end of the round 1, you do not need to turn your work. You're going to continue working in the same direction. For round 2, you're going to chain 1. You're going to work a single crochet in that first stitch and in each stitch all the way around. When you come to your corner stitches, you will work 3 single crochet stitches in each corner, and then when you come back to your first stitch, join with a slip stitch in the top stitch. So work 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch all the way around. At the end of round 2, you will join with your slip stitch in that first stitch. You're going to chain 1, and at this point you are going to turn your work. This way, when you work your puff stitches, they're all going to come out on the right side of your fabric. For round 2, you're going to begin by working a single crochet in the same stitch as joining, single crochet in the next stitch. At your corner stitch, work 3 single crochet stitches. Single crochet in the next. You're now going to work a puff stitch. To work a puff stitch, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, and draw up a loop. You're going to do that for a total of 4 times. So that was the first time. You're going to do it again. Yarn over, insert your hook in the same stitch, yarn over and drop a loop. That was 2. Yarn over, insert your hook in the same stitch, yarn over and drop a loop. That's 3. Yarn over, insert your hook in the same stitch, yarn over, drop a loop. That's 4. You will then have 3, 6, 9 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and you're going to draw through all 9 loops, and that is your puff stitch. You're then going to work 1 single crochet stitch in each of the next 3 stitches. Next, puff stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over and drop a loop. Do that a total of 4 times. Once you have 9 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 9 loops. Then work 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. You're going to repeat that all the way around your work. So 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, followed by a puff stitch. You're going to repeat that all the way around your work, being sure that in each corner stitch you work 3 single crochet stitches. So continue to repeat that all the way around. When you come back to your first single crochet stitch there, you're going to join with a slip stitch and turn your work. At the end of round 3, you're going to join with your slip stitch, you're going to chain 1, and you're then going to turn your work once again. So you will see that your puff stitches are now all on the front side of your work. Now for rounds 4 and rounds 5, you are going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Once again, you're going to work your 3 single crochet stitches in each corner stitch. So you're going to do this round of single crochet stitches twice more, single crochet in each stitch all the way around, working 3 single crochet stitches in each corner stitch, and then join with a slip stitch. No need to turn your work, just continue on. At the end of round 5, then you can fasten off, join with a slip stitch, and then fasten off your work, and then block this part of the blanket if you desire. Okay, so now you should have finished your blanket portion of the lovey, which is here. And once you have finished it and you've woven in your ends, you can then set that portion aside. We're now going to start working on the head portion of our bear. So you're going to grab your 4mm crochet hook along with a stitch marker and your yarn. To begin the head portion, you're going to start by making a magic ring, however you make your magic ring. Okay, and then you are going to chain 1 and work 6 single crochet stitches into the center of that ring. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, we are working with our 4mm crochet hook. Now at the end of each round here, you are not going to join. You're going to be working in continuous rounds, which means you're going to need your stitch marker. So for round 2, you're going to work 2 single crochets into each stitch. So not joining, you're not going to turn your work. You're going to work your first single crochet stitch, and because you're using the 4mm hook, it might be a little bit tighter. It will be a little bit tighter, so you might have to just kind of wiggle your hook in there. So 2 single crochet stitches in that first stitch, and I'm going to take my stitch marker and mark the first of those 2. Now as I progress my work, I'm going to be moving that stitch marker outward, so I will always have that first stitch marked. So 2 single crochet stitches in each stitch all the way around, and at the end of this round you're going to have a total of 12 stitches. Okay, there we go. Round 3, you are going to single crochet in the next stitch and then work 2 single crochet stitches in the next. So I'm going to very briefly remove my stitch marker, work 1 single crochet in the next stitch, replace my stitch marker, and then work 2 single crochet stitches in the next. I'm going to repeat that all the way around, so 1 single crochet in the next stitch, followed by 2 single crochet in the next. At the end of this round, you're going to have a total of 18 stitches. I'm almost back at my stitch marker. 2 in that final stitch, and I'm ready for round 4. For round 4, I'm going to work 1 single crochet stitch in each of the next 2 stitches. So there's my first single crochet, put back on my stitch marker, next single crochet in the next stitch, followed by 2 single crochet in the next. Then you're going to repeat 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches and 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat that all the way around back to your stitch marker. At the end of this round, you are going to have a total of 24 stitches. For round 5, you are going to single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. And then work 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat that all the way around, 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches and 2 single crochet in the next stitch. You're going to repeat that all the way around back to your stitch marker, and at the end of this round you're going to have a total of 30 single crochet stitches. For round 6, you are going to single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. And then work 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat that all the way around, 1 single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches and 2 single crochet in the next. You are going to continue that all the way around, and when you reach your stitch marker, you're going to have a total of 36 stitches. For round 7, you are going to single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. And then work 2 single crochet stitches in the next stitch. Repeat that all the way around, single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. And work 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 42 stitches. Now for the next 6 rounds, so rounds 8 through to 13, you are going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So for the next 6 rounds, single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Don't forget to keep marking your first stitch in each round to help you keep count. And of course, for each of these rounds, you're going to have a total of 42 single crochet stitches. So work those rounds and then meet me back here and we will begin our decreases. Okay, so now by the end of round 13, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. You can see the head is now forming and it's come in nicely. We're now going to start our decreases. Your decreases are similar to your increase rounds, the ones that we did rounds 1 through to 7, except instead of working 2 single crochet in the stitches, we're going to be working 2 single crochet together over 2 stitches. So for your round 14, you're going to begin by single crocheting in each of the next 5 stitches. 5, and then you are going to work a single crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches. So to work your single crochet 2 together, you're going to insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over and drop a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and draw through all 3 of those loops. That's your single crochet 3 together. You're going to repeat that all the way around. So single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches, followed by a single crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches. Repeat that all the way around, and remember, you will not turn or join your work. So at the end of your round 14, you should have a total of 36 stitches. For round 15, you are going to single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches. Repeat that, single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, and single crochet 2 together. Repeat that all the way around. At the end of round 15, you will have a total of 30 stitches. For round 16, you are going to single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, and single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches. Repeat that all the way around, single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, and single crochet 2 together over the next 2. Repeat that all the way around, and you're going to have a total of 24 stitches at the end of this round. For round 17, you're going to single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together. Repeat that all the way around. Single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and single crochet 2 together. At the end of this round, you are going to have a total of 18 stitches. For round 18, you are going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then single crochet 2 together. Repeat that all the way around, single crochet in the next stitch, and single crochet 2 together. At the end of this round, you are going to have a total of 12 stitches. So in the end, the head is going to look like this, and you'll have a small opening there at the bottom. At the end of this round 18, you are going to join with a slip stitch in that first stitch, and then you are going to fasten off your work, leaving a long tail, however long you feel you will need in order to sew the head on to your blanket. So you're just going to fasten off, leaving a long tail. Then at this time, you can take your small amount of yarn, of black yarn or embroidery floss, whatever you would like, and you can embroider into the face of your bear its nose and its eyes. I prefer, when I'm making children's toys, to embroider the eyes and the nose on. Just it's fewer pieces that can come off, yeah, it's just fewer pieces to get lost and come off, making it dangerous for baby. So go ahead and do that. Once you have embroidered the face onto your bear, you're going to set that head aside and get ready to work the arms. Now, to work the arms for your bear, you're going to make 2 arms for the bear. So you're going to repeat these instructions. You're going to start by making your magic ring. And then you're going to work 6 single crochet stitches into that ring. For the arms, again, you're using your 4mm crochet hook. You're going to tighten your ring. Once again, you will not be joining or turning at the end of each round. You're going to be using your stitch marker to mark your place. After you've worked round 1, your 6 single crochet stitches into your ring, you're going to begin round 2. In round 2, you're going to work 2 single crochet stitches into each stitch. Remember to mark that first stitch. At the end of round 2, you will have a total of 12 stitches. Now, at this time, before you go on any further, you're going to want to tighten that magic ring, and you're going to want to weave in your end at this point to make sure that it's nice and secure. Because the arm is so narrow, you're not going to want to have to go back and tuck in your ends after, and you don't want them pulling undone, which can happen if you don't fasten off this end quite well from your magic ring. There we go. Okay, so now you can continue, and we're going to begin working round 3, and in round 3 you're going to start working in the back loop only. So in the back loop only, you are going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. To work in your back loop, you're going to look at the top of your stitch. You'll see a horizontal bar running closest to you, and then one in back of that. That makes sort of a V. To work in the back loop, you're only going to work under that loop there that's furthest away from you. Okay, so work your first single crochet stitch in that back loop, and be sure to mark it. And then working in the back loop of each stitch, you're going to single crochet all the way around. Again, you will have 12 stitches at the end of this round and at the end of each round from here on out for your arm. Go. So that's what you will have. Now for the next 11 rounds, you are simply going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So for the next 11 rounds until round 14, single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Be sure to keep moving your stitch marker up. After you are finished, you are going to fasten off, again leaving a long tail because you're going to want to sew these pieces together. So leave a long tail. You can set arm number 1 aside and go ahead and make arm number 2, repeating the rounds that we have just worked and will work. So once you have made your 2 arms, come on back here and we will work on making our ears. Okay, so once you have worked your 2 arms, you are going to set them aside once again, and you're going to work the ears. Now the ears for the bear are quite quick and simple. What you're going to do is, I started by making a magic ring. And into my magic ring, I worked 4 single crochet stitches. So chain 1 and work 4 single crochet stitches. Then chain 1 and slip stitch into the ring. Now, then I tightened my ring, but not so tight that it formed a circle. I just wanted to bring it in a little bit closer. Next, you're going to chain 1. You're going to turn your work. Skip that first slip stitch, and into each of the next 4 stitches, single crochet. Again, for this, you're using your 4mm crochet hook. Then chain 1 and slip stitch back into your ring. You're going to see that it's going to curl your ears inward a little bit. You're going to do that one more time. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now skip that first slip stitch, work into the next single crochet and work 1 single crochet in each of those next 4 stitches. Chain 1 and slip stitch back into your magic ring. You're then going to fasten off, once again leaving a long tail to sew the ear to the top of the head. Then what you can do is, the tighter that you pull your magic ring, the more curled your ear becomes. So you can decide how curled in you would like your little bear ear, or how flat, and then you're just going to set that ear aside. Repeat that for the second ear, and then meet me back here and we will work on sewing all of our pieces together. Okay, so you've now worked your 2 arms, your head, your little ears, and your blankie. You're going to start to sew your pieces together now. What you're going to do is, you're going to take your head to begin, and you're going to kind of puff it out here a little bit. Then starting with one of your ears, and what I did was, I had that little shorter end, I just kind of tucked it in there, so I only have the one long end now to help sew it on. You're going to take your yarn needle and thread your yarn through, and you're going to find your desired placement for that first ear. So it might help to kind of flatten the head a little bit if you'd like. Find where you would like to place your first ear, and then begin to sew it on. Now with it folded, I simply just did a very tight, I don't know what kind of stitch you would call it, but I just kind of went around like this, kept my stitches tight, made sure I was working through both pieces. You want to make sure that your ear is very, very secure. You don't want it to come off. So work it very, very tight. And the number of stitches you do, it depends on what you are comfortable with. And then once you are happy with that first ear and how it is sewn on, you're then going to fasten off and weave in that end. With your first ear complete, you're going to take your second ear, thread it through your yarn needle, then decide where you would like to place that second ear. Once you know where you'd like to have it placed, then you can begin to sew it on. And basically do the same as you did for the other ear. Make sure it is nice and secure. Once you're happy with how it is sewn on, once again fasten off and weave in your ends. Now with your ears sewn on, you are going to take your fiber fill, and we're now going to stuff the head. And this, you can stuff it as plush as you would like, or as firm as you would like. You're just going to stick in as much as you need. Just like so. There we go. And you're going to set it aside just briefly. You're then going to take your two arms and you're going to stuff them as well with a little bit of fiber fill. The challenge here is making sure that the arms are stuffed to the same thickness. There we go. I'm gonna take a little bit of that one and put it in here. That's better. Okay. Then what I did to make sure that my arms were extra secure, I first sewed the arms onto the head. So I took the head and I just had my arms coming out the sides. I threaded on my yarn needle. Decided where I wanted to place them, and then sewed them to the underside. I made sure that I went through all thicknesses, and again make sure it is quite secure. You will be sewing over top of it again when you go to sew the head onto the blanket part, but it can't hurt to be extra cautious and just make sure that your stitches are tight. So once I finished this, I fastened off and wove in my ends, and then I did the same for the other arm, placing it coming out the other side of my bear. So go ahead and do that, and then we will sew on the head. Okay, so I have my little bear here. The arms are sewn on along with the ears. And now it's time to sew this piece onto the blanket. So what I did was I took my blanket and I laid it out, and I wanted my bear, so I found one of the corners, the corner I wanted to be the front, and I sewed the bear on so that his face was facing one of the corners. So he's sewn on the diagonal. I found the center of my blanket, and there's a few ways you can do that. You can fold your blanket over twice And then you know that your center spot is here up at the top. So if you do that, or else you can measure in, it's up to you how you would like to do that. So then once I knew where the middle of my blanket was, you can pin it in place if you'd like, or just work very carefully. I laid my bear on top. Once again, he is facing one of the corners. Okay. I then threaded my yarn needle, and very much like how I sewed on the ears and the hands, I began to sew my bear in place. Now this was a little bit trickier because you're going to be sewing around the entire outside. I didn't lay it flat, I just sewed all the way around the opening there in my blanket, making sure that the stitches were tight. And I think I actually, for my bears, I went around twice just because I wanted to make sure that this head was not going to come off. So just sew all the way around, sewing through all layers of thickness when you come to your arms. And when you are happy with how secure it is, I just do a couple little tugs to make sure that it is on there secure. Once you're happy with it, you can fasten off and weave in your ends, and you will have your little, sorry about that, hit the camera, you'll have your little peekaboo lovey. So thank you so much for joining me on this tutorial on how to crochet the peekaboo lovey. Be sure to follow me on social media. I love to see the projects that you're working on and hear how the patterns went. So please let me know. Give this video a like, also subscribe and share and comment. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time.